Rhun ap Iorwerth may not be the most familiar face outside of Wales, but he's certainly made his mark. A former TV journalist, his feet newly under the table as Plaid Cymru's leader, bidding his party's Senate deal with Labour over a donations row engulfing Vaughan Gething. He's now riding a manifesto vowing to put Wales first. More devolution in tax, justice and energy, an independent Wales still the long-term goal. But in a nation long dominated by Labour, Plaid has always struggled to cut through. Is now the time for Plaid to make some waves? On a busy day of campaigning, Rhun spoke to me from Cardiff Bay. Thank you so much for being on the programme. Great to have you here as part of our Leaders Interviews series. We're starting all of them in this way. Why should people vote for Plaid Cymru?
I think the reason to vote for Plaid Cymru is clearer than usual even in this election. We've had a reduction in Wales's voice through a cut in the number of MPs from 40 to 32, so we really need to make sure that the MPs we have really do speak up for Wales, which are guaranteed of in Plaid Cymru. But also we kind of know where this is going to end, don't we, in terms of Downing Street. Sir Keir Starmer will be the Prime Minister 2 weeks from now. So we need to be holding him and his government to account for the people of Wales. You know, we can have Labour members being elected there telling him what a great job he's doing, or you can have Plaid Cymru MPs there constructively holding him to account and making sure that he can never ignore Wales.
At the same time, though, you say there's more reason than ever to vote Plaid Cymru, but a lot of your manifesto is quite familiar. You want a publicly owned national energy company, so does Labour. You want a national care service, so does Labour. You want VAT on private school fees, so does Labour. You want to renationalise railways. You want to ban conversion therapy. I mean, you get where I'm going with this. Why should anyone vote for you and rather than Welsh Labour?
And I'll talk about all the other things where we absolutely differ from Welsh Labour. We want to tackle child poverty by getting rid of the two-child benefit cap. We want to have a reassessment of our relationship with Europe so that we can really look after Welsh trade. We want to make sure that there's investment in Wales through the £4 billion owed to us from the HS2 rail project in England, which Labour is flatly ignoring. We want to make sure that we get powers over crime and justice, which commission after commission has said that we need. Labour in Wales say we need, but UK Labour ignores us. And that is at the heart of this. Plaid Cymru won't allow Wales to be sidelined from the political debate at Westminster, which is why you need to have Plaid Cymru MPs there.
I'm interested about your kind of pitch to say that we will hold Labour to account. And it does feel that as the election's gone on, and it feels as if we're moving towards a majority for Keir Starmer. Do you think the interesting story of the Parliament could be smaller parties like yourselves, like potentially the Lib Dems or the Greens, being the real opposition, I guess, kind of coalescing together and being the ones who do hold Labour to account?
I think there's something really interesting going on in this election. As you say, we know what the overall result will be. But I'm sensing very much on doorsteps throughout Wales that there's very little excitement about what the Labour Party is offering. Yes, everybody wants to get rid of the Conservatives now, but there's no real sense of what the Labour vision, alternative vision, is. Now, we saw, didn't we, in the recent local elections in England, the police and crime elections in England and Wales, where there was an alternative, a party that was an alternative that could beat both Labour and the Conservatives, people were really going for that option because I think they agree with me that we need that plurality of voices standing up to a government which, could have a decent-sized majority here, which doesn't really help us. Let's bring those different ideas and hold them firmly but constructively to account.
I want to talk about a couple of things in your manifesto now. One of the big things that you talk about is climate change, and you open your section on climate change with this. Forecasters have made clear that the world is on course to become an uninhabitable planet. Is that right, the whole planet uninhabitable? Because obviously there's been reports about parts of the world becoming uninhabitable, but, that looks pretty scary.
Oh, it is scary, Sophie. I mean, I talk to my own kids and, we have to, talk about the threats to our environment in the most stark terms. We only have to look around the world now and see what's happening in terms of extreme weather. That is going to lead to pressures on, movement of population. We are
at
a crisis point.
Plaid
Cymru put forward a motion 3-4 years ago.
I absolutely recognise, the very stark warnings and the concern that people have around climate change. But what are the forecasts that you're basing it on that you say that the world's on course to become uninhabitable?
Well, these are the agreed forecasts of climate scientists world over, that we are not meeting our obligations to limit climate change. Climate change has already happened. It is continuing to happen, but we are still not meeting those obligations that we need to in order to stop it becoming even more catastrophic. I believe those scientists, and I believe we have to take the real steps that can hopefully make a difference. And people tell me quite often, we're only small, we're only 3 million people in Wales. Let's just carry on doing what we've always done because we can't make a difference. Well, it doesn't work like that. As an internationalist, the international community, whether you're a small country or a large country, have to be acting on their own obligations and playing our part.
You talk a lot about Wales. You, of course, want to see an independent Wales and also more devolution to Wales as well. Public spending per head is higher in Wales than in Scotland and also higher than in every region of England. Could you guarantee that an independent Wales would be able to match that spending?
London has higher spending per head, as you know, Sophie, than Wales does. The amount spent varies from nation to nation, region to region. All we're saying in this election, as we always have done.
My numbers are that in 2023, Wales got 12,700 of public spending per head and London 12,500. Is that not true?
But London is more often than not at a higher level of spending than Wales. You look historically, Scotland's at a higher level, Northern Ireland is at a higher level. But what we're saying quite simply is this. We need to make sure that when the Treasury spends money and shares out money across the UK, it has to be done in a fair way. Now, we don't believe that the current way that spending is allocated to Wales and to Scotland is done fairly. It's done according to what's called the Barnett formula. The Lord Barnett, who devised that formula, decided many, many years ago that it was already out of date. It's well out of date now. We need a needs-based formula. Now, I'll look at that from a Welsh perspective. Others in England might want to make the case for English regions too, but I think it's a bare minimum, isn't it, that we should be able to trust that the Treasury looks at the needs of populations and spends money accordingly.
You are relatively new to the leadership. You're a face that many of our viewers might not have seen before. You were elected after a report into Plaid Cymru had found a culture of harassment, bullying and misogyny. Have you cleaned up your act?
It was a difficult time for us. We commissioned this report ourselves, and others have suggested that other political parties may well benefit from doing the same themselves. But this was our moment, just as so many sporting organisations and other organisations, the CBI, political parties have been through a wake-up. We went through that because of the report that we published and commissioned ourselves. The report gave us 82 recommendations, and I sit here now a year on from becoming leader and saying this was my #1 priority. And yes, we have been through that list and ticked off the 82. A couple of technicalities around some of them, but it's pretty much done. But the key thing to me is this. It is never over. We always must keep an eye on the need to make ourselves, in deed and in words, as opening and as welcoming a party as we possibly can be. People tell me that the party feels very, very different. I hope they're right. I sense that they're right, but maybe ask others.
OK, I'm going to end with a quick fire. You ready? Tom Jones or Shirley Bassey?
Go.
What's your hidden talent?
Oh, Tom Jones. Tom Jones and playing guitar badly.
Any
more Tom Jones
songs?
songs than Shirley Bassey. Oh, lots and lots. I compose and things, but I wouldn't put you through it.
OK, I'm going to try and find if I can dig any out on the internet later. You're a former broadcaster. Who do you enjoy watching on telly?
Sophy Ridge, obviously.
Oh, no, come on. Give me a proper answer to that one. It's not going to win you any points here.
Oh, no, I know. Yeah, it's too late. The interview's over now, I know. But no, I'll watch anything, really. I'm into my sports documentaries at the moment. It's a proper switch off from politics.
And talking about sport, who are you supporting in the Euros?
Oh, you know what? France has been my favourite team for a while, actually. But I'm still devastated after watching Wales fail to qualify in that penalty shootout against Poland. Devastated. We're used to qualifying for everything nowadays, so I'm still getting over it.
Are you hoping England win tonight?
I hope sport's the winner.
OK, nicely dodged. Thank you very much indeed. Great to have you on the programme.
Thank you, Sophie.